Interesting developments playing out at the floor of the Senate, and we'll get to interrogate those sentiments with my guest. And as hinted earlier, the party leader at the Roots Party of Kenya and the 2022 presidential candidate joins me in studio for a brief conversation on Kenya's political landscape. A man who needs no introduction, Professor George Wajakoyah. Thank you so much for gracing us. Thanks for your time. Karibu sana.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, we just ran a story, perhaps showing how the intricacies after the AUC election are playing out, especially in the political scene. Raila Odinga's loss at AU seems to have fueled a conversation about a broader, broad-based government. We hear talks of implementing the NADCO report. We hear talks of putting up a position of prime minister in order to accommodate him. As a Roots Party leader, what's your position on the push for a prime minister's position?
I think that's a very, very narrow-minded thought at the moment when the country has been plunged into corruption. And you look at the people who are coming out to say that Raila needs to be fixed here. What is the purpose? First of all, Honorable Raila was a candidate at the AUC. Yeah. It all went until the results came. Then after that, somebody somewhere is coming out to push Raila to the Prime Minister's seat. The Constitution speaks otherwise. And unless somebody wants to contravene the Constitution, we don't know the motive behind it. If it's a political motive, then it's a very wrongly judged political motive at the moment, because somebody is trying to put Nyanza votes into one basket. Having failed from the outside the country, now somebody is engineering another one to come up with those propositions, which Raila himself does not really want. If Raila wants anything, he can always say it. But not young men and women in parliament to come out and start agitating for what they don't know. First of all, if you look at the people who are agitating for this, do they have credibility to speak on behalf of millions of Kenyans? Kenyans are hurting. The housing levy, which was initially said to be a contribution towards ownership of a house, turns out to be a tax. So this is all business that we should not be looking into when we have issues of abduction, killings that have not been explained, and somebody now wants to tell us about prime minister. I don't agree with that.
So it's pretty clear that if that's the route they want to go, we might have a BBI too, perhaps, in terms of changing the constitution. Do we need this position to enhance governance, or it's simply about accommodating the person of Raila Odinga?
The motive behind whoever is the speaker and where the speaker comes from and what he supports, we don't need it to come from those kind of people. I personally would say that the NADCO report has been outdated. It has lost its meaning, its value. It was supposed, if at all there was value in it, then it ought to have been implemented at that particular time, not after Raila had lost the AU. There is a motive, and Kenyans now are very eager to see what is going to happen. First of all, the BBI thing was struck out by the Supreme Court because it was unconstitutional. So is the NADCO report. Okay. People have to be asked whether they want it or not. It has to go through to abide by the Constitution. Anything less than that, being again said by a lawyer like Cherargei, who went to Kenya School of Law, maybe he needs to find out the correct books to read about constitutionalism. So I wouldn't take Cherargei, and he's not speaking for himself, he's speaking on behalf of somebody.
Interesting. So have you been approached to recently join the current administration? There's talk of a broader, broad-based government. There are media reports that perhaps we can bring in Wajakoyah into the political fold so that everyone is included. Have you been approached?
They should leave me alone. They have not contacted me. The roadside statements are very, very illegitimate. If somebody is mentioning my name, changing from the banky person to somebody who can be brought in, I mean, I just don't understand the 48 laws of power. Why would somebody who was calling me a madman the other day, who was calling me a bank smoker, now think of me working and serving in a government without consulting me? I wouldn't take that. I'm not just some piece of garbage to be brought in for. Talk to me. If you want to speak with me, pick up the phone, make an appointment, let us talk, chat chart the ideologies of and the standards required for democratization of this country. Don't just come here and balloon yourself and then start airing your own views that Wajakoyah now can come in as.
So that call hasn't come. If it does, will you be interested in joining?
Well, I would want to hear what they have to say, and I will ask them about the Constitution and the preamble of the Constitution.
So that's okay.
Yeah, is it just going to hoodwink me to get into a purpose of somebody?
Okay.
Is it just an issue of 2027 elections whereby let's fix this, then we shall get the Kikuyus out and have the Luyas, the Luos, the Kalenjins in one basket and vote? Let's come up and choreograph some kind of mathematics that when you include Wajakoyah, like what happened with the cabinet assistant secretary, yeah,
CAS position.
They cloned some people, and then the courts threw out. So they want. Do you also want to clone me into that system, which is unconstitutional? And then you go to court tomorrow, and then I'm left hanging. Talk to people. Talk to me. I'm just a human being who is a very simple person. But mind you, I'm very learned. Be careful.
So you wouldn't mind serving as CS?
I am not really interested in serving as CS when Kenyans are dying. But if it is something constitutional, something that Kenyans have given the mandate, then I will. But where Kenyans have not been involved, and then you just get somebody from somewhere wanting to satisfy his ego, I am not.
Okay. We have to talk about matters to do with the opposition, because if the opposition truly wishes to trounce President William Ruto in the 2027 general election, the critics say that the opposition must be united. We're talking about a leader who hasn't lost a single election in Kenya, so it wouldn't be any mean task. You've been categorical that you're a lone soldier in this political race. Are you open to working with like-minded individuals, just to name a few, Kalonzo Musyoka, Rigathi Gachagua, who are tilting towards the opposition side and forming a new coalition for 2027?
I think it's right for me to say this. Kalonzo is my friend, and I really respect him. We even spoke yesterday, and I remember calling him today. He's a gentleman in his own way. Personally, Kalonzo is a good man. Personally, Eugene Wamalwa is a good man. But this kind of coalition they are going into with Gachagua is questionable. Because the other day, Kalonzo, Raila, Kioni, Martha Karua, Wairia were being bombed, beaten up by Gachagua.
In the 2023 protests.
Yes, and Gachagua has not come out to apologize to Kenyans, including myself. And the same Kalonzo and Eugene, my friends, who were actually asking Kalonzo to go home, Gachagua, questioning Gachagua's credibility during that time. Now how comes that they have turned around? Now Gachagua is a saint. Gachagua has to apologize to Kenyans for the misdeeds and misconducts he did that particular time when he was allowing the police officers to shoot at us, the kids who were killed at that particular time. Nobody wants to know because people want power. That's why I disagree with those. So
if he doesn't apologize, you're not open?
I'm not open for discussion.
Okay, we're set to have Kalonzo Musyoka give us his take on the recent developments that have played out in the country. In just 10 seconds, are you open to working with Kalonzo come 2027? Is he a like-minded individual? Because each of you seem to be gunning for the top seat.
We can work as a team towards a common goal, but we cannot work as a team to satisfy egos of other people.
Thank you. Professor George Wajakoyah, we appreciate your time and input. Of course, his interview just coming right before we have a conversation with Kalonzo Musyoka, the Wiper Democratic Movement Party leader, and we'll just be crossing over in just but a few. Let's just take a look at what you can expect in tomorrow's edition of Kenya's bold newspaper, The Standard. Make sure you grab yourself a copy, because they're taking a look at the diplomatic goofs that Kenya has made, with keen focus on the RSF, the Rapid Support Force from Sudan, who was set to sign an agreement yesterday. It was postponed, but the